Today is February 5th, 2015. My name is Edna Sussman. I'm a reference librarian here at the Half Hollow Hills Community Library in Dix Hills, New York. We're interviewing Frank Wolff, a World War II Army veteran, as part of our Veterans Testimonial Project and in collaboration with the Library of Congress's Veterans History Project. Thank you so much, Frank, for being here today and participating in our project.
You're welcome. My pleasure.
Thank you. Frank, where and when were you born?
I was born November 7th, 1921 in Munich, Germany.
And who were your parents?
My parents were Henry and Tekla Wolff.
And what did they do?
My father was, he owned an industrial laundry. And my mother was a housewife and mother of three.
Three. So your siblings, who were they and their names?
My oldest brother is Paul Joseph Wolff, and my twin brother is Richard Wolff.
That was my dad's name.
Oh,
Richard Wolff.
Really?
Which, if any, service did they, in the military, did they serve in? Did they serve in the military?
Yes, they both served in the military. Paul was stationed in Panama for a while, and but he never went to Europe. But my twin brother, Richard, he was in Europe. He was in an artillery unit. Mm-hmm. And once after the war, we arranged to meet in Germany.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Are they both still alive?
Yes, both are alive and well.
Well, great.
Right. And married.
Nice. Do they live in the States or?
No, they live here. Richard, Paul lives in New Jersey, mm-hmm. and Richard lives in Illinois.
Okay.
Chicago, mm-hmm. Illinois.
What were you doing before you entered the service?
I was a mechanic. I was a helper, a mechanic in a machine shop. Mm-hmm. A machine shop that produced knitting machines.
Where was that?
In Philadelphia, uh-huh. outside, in a Philadelphia suburb.
Uh-huh. So you were born in Germany and your parents were born in Germany.
Yes.
When did you come over to the States?
I came over in 1937, uh-huh. May 26, 1937.
Mm-hmm. Now, which branch of the military did you serve in?
United States Army.
Yeah.
The unit, 1st Infantry Division, 26th Infantry Regiment, mm-hmm. Company B.
Mm-hmm. Were you drafted or enlisted?
I was drafted.
You were?
Yes. I wanted to enlist, but my mother wouldn't permit it. Oh. She said, you wait until you get drafted. Mm-hmm. But my twin brother, who lived in Chicago at that time, was not under my mother's influence. Mm-hmm. He enlisted.
He did?
Right.
Were you near each other when you served, or no? I mean, no, stationed near each other, no?
We met once, but we arranged after the war, we met.
But when you were serving in the military, you didn't see each other?
No.
Uh-huh. Now, I guess since you were drafted, you didn't have a choice of the branch, or did you? No.
No. Well, I mean, I wanted to be in the Army.
Oh, I see.
Right. So I would have enlisted, but I told you my mother wouldn't permit it.
Yeah. Now, what happened when you departed for training camp and during your early days of training? What was that like?
Well, I was picked up in my neighborhood.
Which was, where was that?
In Philadelphia.
Okay.
And was taken to the train station, and they took me to Tennessee.
Oh.
On a transport, troop transport.
Like a truck?
To camp, I don't remember right now.
That's okay.
A training camp in Tennessee, just south of Nashville.
Uh-huh. Now, do you recall your instructors and what were they like? Or how was it? How was your relationship with the instructors at the training
Good.
camp? Good?
Yes.
They-
But, my instructors, yeah, I don't have any specific memory of that.
Now, did you receive any specialized training?
No, I was an infantry man.
So you had to learn how
I had basic training.
Basic.
Rifleman
Rifleman.
was my title
I see.
initially, right?
Was that difficult to learn how to?
No.
How old were you when you?
21,
21.
right?
How did you adapt to military life and, the regimen, the barracks, the food, social
Very well.
life?
No
Yeah?
problems.
Really?
Right.
How
No
did you
prob-
like it?
Yes, it was okay. I was committed to, I was totally committed to be a good soldier.
Right. And where did you, after Tennessee, how long were you in Tennessee for the training? You recall?
Maybe 3 months.
And then where did you go?
And I went for a short time, maybe another month or two, to Kansas, in Kansas for more training,
Was it right?
more
Infantry
infantry
tra-
training,
I
right?
How long were you there in Kansas? You recall?
Maybe a couple of months, maybe only 1 month, not long.
And then where did you go?
Then I was shipped to New York and to a center for troops that are to be shipped overseas.
Oh, did you know then where you might serve? Where they may send you overseas?
Yes,
Oh, where?
in Germany.
They would send
in
you-
Europe. They didn't say Germany. European Theater of Operations,
I see.
right? ETO.
What was it?
ETO, European Theater of Operations.
What were some of your memories of serving abroad?
Well, I was on home territory when I was in Europe, because I was born in Europe.
Right.
So it wasn't anything new, and I had been in France before as a young teenager. I had been in Paris, so it wasn't totally strange territory to me.
Did you speak French?
No,
Ger-
well, a little. I had high school French. I could communicate, but I wasn't fluent in French.
So
But I
knew
was
English and
I was
German.
English. I had learned English before emigrating. I had a private person, a lady who had served in America, who had been in America, and she, my parents hired her for conversational English. So she taught me something about, we just talked English as well as we could, which I was pretty good. I was almost immediately fluent in English, but I still have an accent to this day.
Very mild.
Yes, but so I had no problem. Language-wise, I had no problem.
When you were in the military, did you have cause to speak German there? Or
To have cause, as I was a frontline soldier, the 1st Infantry Division, so I spoke German in interviewing as an interpreter between my commanding officer and the prisoner.
Oh, wow.
Right.
Interesting.
So I interpreted that.
Wow.
Right.
So were you on
Unless
the,
some of the prisoners could speak some English, but basically I was interpreter. But that was just a sideline, My basic function in the military was I was an infantryman.
right. So you were on the front lines.
Yes.
What kind of combat action?
I was in a very spearhead all the time.
What do you mean?
I was in the spearhead attack, the 1st Infantry Division.
Wow.
Big red one. As Don't I have my
Oh,
uh,
medals.
insignia medals there, right?
What was that? Where was that? In the front lines in Germany?
Well, I landed on D-Day in Normandy on Omaha Beach in the afternoon, and then a day and a half or so later, I was lightly wounded.
How did that
I had a
happen?
piece of shrapnel in my right side. So when I got hit, I went back to the beach because we were just maybe 100 or 200 yards inside. I went back to the beach, and they took me back to England
By ship.
by ship, and I was soaking wet. I was still soaking wet from the because when we landed, the captain of our landing ship, he said, "Don't worry, guys, you barely get your feet wet." I went down the rope ladder. The next thing I knew, I was overhead. A wave just went like overhead and swamped me inside. So when I was wounded a day and a half, I was still wet. My clothes were still wet.
Wait, you were wounded like a day and a half after your arrival
Right.
on the beach?
Right.
So where did you all stay? Where were the barracks? You had barracks?
I went to a hospital.
No, before you were wounded.
Before I was wounded, yes, I stayed in. I was in a landing in a. I forget now what
Like a
they call-
military post
Yes,
with barracks?
yes, right.
So,
And then they took me to the landing site.
once you were injured, they
Right.
took you back to England.
Right. I was stationed on the south coast of England. I think I stayed there someplace in there. Maybe not. I don't know.
How did that happen? Your injury? How did that?
The first time I was. The first time I was hit by a piece of shrapnel in my right side, and it was from artillery fire.
I don't know.
That piece of shrapnel is still in there now.
No.
They never took it out.
Why not?
It would have done more damage to take it out. It was a small piece, and the doctor said to leave it in, it won't do any damage. So if I have an x-ray taken, it still shows up. And I have another piece later on, which we'll come to later, in the back. That's also still in there.
Does it give you discomfort? Do you feel
No.
them? No.
No, but the second piece was more severe wound, and it kind of knocked me out. But,
Do you remember when
it
that?
had no lasting effect. But they tried to take it out in the back here. I have what do you call it?
A pin?
wound.
A pin? Oh, a wound.
Not a wound. What's left after a wound?
A scar.
Scar, that's right. Okay, I have a scar because they tried to take it out, and when I was on the operating table, they decided they took X-rays and so on, and then the doctor said it's better to leave it in because it'll do more damage to try to take it out.
Wow.
So it's still in there. So I have 2 pieces of shrapnel in there.
Wow.
Right.
Did you, so then you stayed in the hospital for a little while after that?
Yes.
And went back to serve?
Yes, yes.
Wow. Did you catch up
They
with
shipped
your...
me back after recovered. First I went to a hospital, then to
Where was that, the hospital?
in someplace in the south of England.
Uh-huh.
I don't remember exactly where, but
And then you caught up with your group again, the same...
yes, I was
Unit?
shipped back, yes. And when I came back, I think it was maybe 6 weeks later, I came back, and my company, which was the 1st Infantry Division, 26th Infantry Regiment, Company B. They were already off the beach, a little bit off the beach, but not far.
Still in France?
Still in France, yes. Still not far from the beach, right.
Did you witness destruction and
Yes.
casualties?
Yes.
Really?
I witnessed everything that can be witnessed.
Can you tell us about that?
Everything that can be witnessed.
Wow. Can you tell us about that?
Yes, the first corpse that I saw was a German. I think it was a German soldier, right on the beach, and the back of his head was knocked off, and his brains were spilled out.
Wow.
That's a memory that I still have.
Sure.
Right.
What about the destruction of the cities?
Yes.
You
Yes.
saw that?
I saw it. I saw it.
Wow.
I saw it all, right.
Tell us about that. What cities?
What cities? Well, I landed in Normandy. So I have it right here. I think I have it right here. Oh no, this is not. Oh no. No, this is family history.
Maybe
No,
here.
This is.
Oh.
But did I show you this?
No.
These are my memoirs.
Yes.
Family transitions.
Right. We took a picture.
Oh, okay.
Okay. And this?
And these are the three Wolff boys who were in the army. That's me. This is my twin brother Richard. This is my older brother Paul. This is Richard and his wife Doris. They live in Chicago. It's me and my wife. And this is my older brother Paul.
Very nice. Let me just hold this up.
All as bridegrooms.
Okay. So, thank you.
Okay.
How did you feel when you were witnessing all this destruction around you and the casualties, and how as a 21-year-old
Well,
absorb that?
I saw a pretty awful sight on the beach, like a soldier, I don't remember whether it was American or German, who with his brains spilled out. And after that, after that I kind of became immune to it.
Sure.
Uh,
So your duties
But
were...
I do remember one thing later on. I saw I was a part of a task force. This was later. And I saw there was a woman who saw us and she panicked. And she started to flee. And the tank commander fired and killed her.
Wow.
So I walked past her body.
Was that in France, or?
No, it was in Germany.
Do you think it was a German
Yes,
citizen?
it was in Germany.
It was a German woman, you think?
Yes, a local woman, as far as I know.
What kind of friendships and camaraderie did you form while serving, and with whom?
Yes, I was good. I was a good, popular, a good soldier. Say, people. I was well liked, and you can. There's a picture in here of someplace in here. Oh, isn't it? Where's that picture?
You made some friends in your unit? You made friends with
Yes, I
so
was
other
well
soldiers?
liked, very popular person. I had no problems. There's no personality problems. I was well liked. I showed you this picture, right?
Yes.
That's
Yes, we have that one. Thank you. Yep,
that's my wife.
yep. How did you stay in touch with family and friends back home?
By letters. Let's see we had special letters. I forget what they call it now. Mail, army mail or something like that. Military mail. Military mail.
Mm-hmm. And what did you do for recreation and or when you were off duty? What did you do? Were you ever off duty?
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
Sometimes, yes.
So what did you do?
Went sightseeing or something like that. We went out in the countryside.
Did you see any other countries at the time? Did you go to other countries in Europe? Just on recreation?
Later I did.
After?
But not for training. Training I was in England. Later on I was on the continent.
Right.
I participated on D-Day. Landed in Normandy on D-Day.
Right.
And went all the way through Northern Europe, past Paris as a combat soldier, all the way into Belgium and then into Germany.
Wow. And when you traveled with your unit, was
Yes.
always on trucks or?
Either trucks, sometimes on the top of a tank. Yes.
When you were off duty, did you go anywhere with your fellow soldiers into the
You mean
cities?
after D-Day or before?
No, while you were stationed there,
In England?
or on the
Oh,
mainland, either way.
Well, during the combat there was no well, I was once I was taken back for a rest period, a few days,
To where?
maybe a week, just a little bit behind the front lines, just for a rest period, and then I went back to the front lines.
Wow. It was pretty constant. I mean,
But
pretty constant that you were
yes,
fighting.
I was right.
Is there anything you might have done when you were serving over there that you regretted or that was very upsetting to you?
I don't have nothing that I regretted. It was upsetting.
Were you afraid?
It was upsetting to see corpses.
Yeah.
Right.
Were you afraid of?
No,
No.
I was resolute, and I knew what I was doing. I was conscious of what I was doing, and I had I created a slogan that I kept repeating to myself.
What was that?
If not me, then who? That was my slogan.
It's good.
Because I looked at my fellow soldiers and I said, none of them have more cause than I have.
Why do you say that?
Because I was a Jewish soldier,
Yeah. How did you felt comfortable with that? There were no feelings of animosity either way towards other groups? I mean, I think they had a separate...
You mean my fellow
Yeah,
soldiers
yeah.
or enemies?
No, the fellow soldiers.
Soldiers?
Yeah.
No, not really. Well, there was one guy who was a little nuts. But there was one guy who was like a little nuts, and he ended up being a deserter.
Oh.
Yeah. Wow. They caught him, and he was court-martialed, and he probably got a dishonorable discharge. But other than that,
No problem.
no problem. There's a picture. I have a picture of the guy. This guy was like, I would say, very slightly mentally handicapped.
A U.S. soldier?
He was like low intelligence.
Yeah.
And
He was an American soldier?
He thought it was all a game. He thought it was a football game. So, someplace in here I have a pose. I don't know.
He was in your unit?
Yes.
Uh-huh.
I don't know where the
Okay,
picture is
that's
right
okay,
now.
that's okay. Let's put this.
He was like a gung-ho. He thought like he was a little bit off his rocker. And, you know, he thought it was all a big football game. So,
Wow.
he,
Oh, well, is there anything else you can tell us about your active duty and the combat duty and what it was like?
well, some of it is right in here, I think. I forget now. I had do I have anything here?
That's okay. Yeah, I mean, if anything
I
that,
have letters here.
okay.
Let's see.
Well, that's okay. We can look at them later.
okay.
Yeah. I mean, anything that comes to mind about when you were serving, you know, from day to day.
Well, the hardships and the death people. The one thing I saw once that kind of disturbed me was a woman that I was walking next to a tank, and this woman, I don't know who she, some farmer woman, and we yelled out to stop and come, hands up or something like that, but then the gunner on the tank killed her.
Oh.
He shot her, and I walked past her corpse. So,
Where were you when the war ended?
in Germany, and I was at the very end. I had been wounded, and I had just come back. I was shipped back from England to my unit. My unit was in Czechoslovakia, so I rejoined my unit on the, what do you call it, the end of the war. What was it called, the day? Not D-Day.
VJ Day? No.
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 VE Day.
VE Day.
Right. Victory in Europe.
Right.
On V. That's when I joined my unit, and my unit at that point was in at the tip of the western tip of Czechoslovakia.
You came from England. That was the second time you were injured in your back?
Yes.
So you left England when you were pretty much healed and
Right.
met up in Czechoslovakia?
Right.
And how long were you then in Czechoslovakia? Or was that then the end?
Not very long. Soon after that, not long after that, I was discharged. I was shipped back to. I was discharged. Where was I discharged? I was discharged in, I guess, back here in the United States.
Oh.
Right.
So how did you return home? Did they by ship or they flew? You flew home?
By ship.
By ship.
Yes. Yes. Everything was by ship at that point.
And your family was
They were
in Philadelphia?
in America.
Yeah, but-
In Philadelphia. My hometown, my American hometown was Philadelphia.
Now, how were you received by family and the community?
You mean coming home? Very well.
Yeah. I mean, I guess your family knew your parents knew you were coming home.
Right.
Right?
Yes.
So did they meet you? I mean,
Right.
the ship landed in New York and then you were transported to Philadelphia?
No, I lived in Philadelphia.
Right.
Yes. Yes, that's right.
Okay. So
And
they met you.
My father, they met me, I can't remember right now where they met me.
Okay.
No, I rang the doorbell.
Oh.
I took it, I went by railroad to Philadelphia from New York.
Okay.
And then I took a taxi and I rang the doorbell, and my father answered the door. He knew I was coming.
Oh, he did, but he
Yes.
didn't know exactly when.
No, well, I think they were expecting me. But there was one thing that was there. My future sister-in-law was there. See, what had happened was that my sister-in-law became close as my brother Paul's future wife, and she became close with my parents, and she often visited weekends in Philadelphia. And when I came home, and I said hello, I saw her in the background, and it was something I never. I resented that. It didn't hit me well.
Why?
It was none of her business to be there at that moment.
I see.
Right. I had never met her before.
Oh, okay.
Right.
Now, were they engaged at that time, or?
I don't think so. I'm not sure.
So you.
They may have been engaged, but they were close. So,
Okay.
right. Yes, I didn't like it that she was there. It was a private moment, and she had no business being there.
How did that go on down the road? You got to like her better?
Those are we're in
Good terms.
on good terms, right? That's past history.
Yeah.
That didn't last long.
How did
It
you
was
adjust?
just kind of surprising.
Surprising.
I felt that it was a private moment, not the appropriate moment to be introduced to somebody that I never met before.
Were your brothers at home at the time?
No,
No.
they were still in the service too.
Oh.
Both of my brothers were in the service.
So the one was still stationed in Europe?
Dick, I think so. But we came home around not far from each other. At the end, all of us at the end of the war. But my older brother, Paul, he never went to Europe. He was stationed in Panama.
Oh, I see. Did you?
But Richard, my twin brother, he was in Europe in an artillery unit.
Did
But
you?
I was in the front line.
He wasn't in the
Spearhead.
front.
I was in the spearhead.
Spearhead.
Artillery was always a little bit behind.
I see.
Right.
Did you have the option to re-up, or did they give you the option to stay in the military, or you didn't want to do
I
that?
could have stayed. I suppose I could have re-enlisted. Or
Re-enlisted,
something, right.
yeah, but you didn't want to.
No.
How did you readjust to civilian life?
Well, did I mention my homecoming, that my sister-in-law was there?
Yes,
Oh,
yes.
I didn't. That was a disappointment.
Right. But then after you were
after
home,
that-
what did you do then?
The first week, I didn't do much of anything. Just walked around the neighborhood and maybe met some neighbors or something, and slowly became reintegrated into the community.
Did you go to school, or
Yes.
where?
Yes, I went to Villanova University,
For
a
what?
college
Yep.
at that time, that later became a university.
What did you major in there?
Mechanical engineering. My degree is BMA, Bachelor of Mechanical Engineering.
And after college, then this was after the service.
Yes.
And then when you finished,
I wouldn't have gone. Initially, I was a high school dropout.
oh,
And then when I was drafted, let's see, I was a high school dropout, but I became, I don't remember anymore
okay.
now.
So you went into the service without any college.
That's right.
And when you came out, you got your degree.
Right.
Did
Immediately took advantage of the GI Bill of Rights. In fact, at first I was a high school dropout, so at first I had to take some lessons
to finish the high school.
to get a high school diploma,
Right.
and then I was admitted to Villanova.
And then did you continue with graduate school, or?
No.
So what did you do after college?
I got a Bachelor of Mechanical Engineering.
Right. And
But I was too old to go to graduate school.
Oh.
You know, I mean, I wasn't too old, but, you know, I was like 24 years old, and I was just coming out of college, so there was no time to go to graduate school.
So what did you do?
I got a job at a company in New Jersey.
As an engineer? As a mechanical engineer?
Yes, right. Right.
How long did you work there?
I think maybe a couple of years.
Oh,
But then I eventually ended up at the Grumman Aircraft Company,
oh,
and I worked there for 26 years
wow. Doing what?
as a mechanical engineer.
Did you, what does that
I
involve?
worked on
What
a
did-
lunar module.
Really?
Yes,
Wow.
that was my major engagement,
Wow.
working on the lunar module. Right, I was very familiar with everything on the lunar module, especially the tanks. I worked on the fuel tanks and propellant tanks. That was my mission there at Grumman.
Wow. That's here on Long Island.
Yes.
So when did you meet your wife?
Let's see. I met her I was introduced to her,
After college?
yes,
Okay,
right,
okay.
after
You
college.
were already out working at the time.
Yes.
Did
Here's
she?
a picture. This is my,
I see.
yes.
Beautiful. Did your wife work?
Yes.
What did she do?
She was a bookkeeper. Right.
And you had two sons? You have
Pardon?
two
I have
sons?
two sons. The older one is David, and the other one is Lawrence.
And
Larry.
do they have family?
Yes.
Children?
They both have families. Right.
Who?
They each have two children.
Nice,
I have 4 grandchildren.
nice. Now, have you remained in contact or reunited with any fellow veterans?
No.
No. Are you a member of any veterans organizations?
Initially, I was a member of the VFW, Veterans of Foreign Wars,
Right.
but only I wasn't an active participant. The reason I joined them was because I had cafeteria privileges.
Oh.
I
Where was that? While you were at Grumman?
No.
Oh.
I was in a veterans organization. I don't remember
okay.
any more detail.
Okay.
But I did go. I know I joined them mostly because I had these cafeteria privileges.
Okay.
Right. I never really was a gung-ho veteran. Yeah.
Okay.
I think I did join. Maybe I joined the Jewish war veterans or something, but I was never active.
Okay. So since when you separated from the military, you went to college, then you
Yes.
got a job, and then you got the job at Grumman, and somewhere in there you met your wife through friends,
Yes.
and then when you were at Grumman, you settled on Long Island. You lived on Long Island and
Yes.
raised your family. How did your wartime experiences affect your life, do you think?
It didn't affect it. I went back to be a civilian, and I have memories, but beyond that, I don't know that it affected me.
Memories?
I have memories of wartime service. Right.
Did we cover those, or do you want to share any?
Did I show you my book?
Yes, this right here.
This book, but I have another book, but I wrote another book,
Okay.
but I don't
Oh,
think I
that's
have
okay.
a copy of it now.
That's okay. We can finish. You can show me after.
Okay.
Okay. What are some life lessons you feel you might have learned from the military?
War is tough.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And they were the first corpses I saw, and let's see what else. Life lessons. It's like I was hardened, I
Really?
guess.
Really?
Right.
Were you was your unit anywhere near any of the concentration camps when they were liberated, or
No,
no?
but my brother Richard, my twin brother, he participated in the liberation of Buchenwald.
Wow.
And he has pictures.
Really?
So I used to have one here. I don't know if I should show it.
Okay, we can see it later. Now,
You don't want to see it. It's a pile of corpses.
Oh, wow. Your parents, when did they leave Germany? Before?
They left in 1939, I think.
Was it hard for them to get out?
They were amongst the last to get out.
Really?
They first went to England. They stayed maybe 9 months or so in England because the quota for immigrants in America was filled. They had to wait their turn in England before they could be admitted to the United States.
How long did they stay in England?
9 months, I think.
And you and your brothers were there with them, right?
No.
No.
No. They were, my parents came over from England to the United States. It's getting faint in my head now.
That's okay. That's okay.
But they were in England. My parents were in England, right?
Okay. How has your military service impacted your feelings about war and the military in general?
It was an interesting experience, to say the least. Right.
You were in 3 years, just about.
3 years, right.
It's a long time.
And 2 years in Europe, overseas, and a long time in combat. So I had a lot of experience, a lot of military experience.
How did that affect your feelings about war and the military?
I was proud to be a veteran,
Great.
a combat veteran. Right. War is not a pleasant experience, but it's an experience that you never forget.
Yeah. What message would you like to leave for any future generations who might hear or see this video?
What
Do you have a
message?
message for future generations that will watch this?
For what?
For future generations or any people that might watch this video of you.
What message? Hopefully you don't have to participate in the war.
Yeah. Is there anything you feel we haven't discussed or anything you'd like to add about your experiences that comes to mind?
No.
No. Okay.
I don't think so.
Okay.
I told you about my combat experience and all that, right?
Yes.
Did I tell you about the Hurtgen Forest?
No.
No, the Battle of the Hurtgen Forest?
No, I'd like to hear about that.
That was the major battle. I was in several major battles, but that was the final battle, the Hurtgen Forest.
Where is that?
It's in western Germany, near the border with France. It's a forest that was planted by the Germans after World War I as a defense against the French.
Oh.
That was the Hurtgen Forest. So it was a relatively young forest. And that's where I was wounded, in the Hurtgen. The Hurtgen Forest was a tough battle.
Why was that? What happened there?
We went in there. I remember going in there. I remember going down a ramp on a truck, and then we went into the forest, and from then on it was like unbelievable. There was artillery fire, and we went through the forest, and eventually I was wounded.
That's the back
second
injury?
time, yes.
Uh-huh.
First time in the theater, the second time in the back. but that was much later in the Hurtgen Forest. Nobody ever heard of the Hurtgen Forest.
No.
But it was a battle that was fought not for territory, but for casualties. That was the purpose of the Battle of the Hurtgen Forest, was each party tried to incur as many casualties as possible, and gaining territory was secondary.
Wow. Ooh. That's awful. I guess that's what war is, huh?
That's what war is, right.
How did you feel being a native-born German, being over there? Was that a...
Well, I had a slogan. Did I tell you what my slogan was?
If not me, then...
That's right. That was it. Now, who else?
Yeah.
Who else should it be except me?
Yeah. Were you aware of what was going... Were the troops aware of what was going on with the camps and so forth at that time?
No.
No.
I didn't find out about that until after the war.
Really?
Right. I couldn't believe it when what I saw and heard. There had been some. I knew that something was going on there because there were some articles in the New York Times of some people that had fled, had succeeded in getting out, but nothing. I didn't know any. The horror of it, I did not know until I found out.
Your parents got out in
Yes.
time, but did you have any extended family that had difficulty getting out of Germany?
No, I don't think so.
Okay.
No. But I did have, did I tell you about when I was in Munich at the end of the war?
No.
I visited my old neighborhood.
Oh.
The house that I was born in was it was a place called St. Paul's Place, directly across the street from the second largest Catholic church in Munich. And I remember as a child watching the congregation walking around at the church with a priest walking under a chuppah.
Oh.
I remember that, yes.
Well, how was a priest under a
The
chuppah?
choir boys carried a chuppah,
Oh,
and the priest walked under the chuppah. Right. I remember that very well.
so was your original house damaged at all?
Yes, it was totally destroyed.
Really?
Yes. It was directly across the street from the second largest church, but when I saw it, it was a pile of rubble.
Wow.
But my grandparents' house, it was not damaged.
Were they still living there?
No.
What did they?
They had died. My grandfather died, and but both died before. I think my grandmother maybe died when I was already overseas.
Oh, I see.
My grandfather, on my mother's side, died when I was still there. I was at his. That was like the first funeral I ever went to.
Really? Was
As
that
a
when
teenager.
Oh, you were a teenager.
Right.
Well, Frank, this was fascinating. Thank you so
Okay.
much. Anything else you'd like to add?
I can't think of anything
Thank
right
you
now.
so much for
Okay.
your service and
Okay.
for talking to us. Thank you
Okay.
so much.
You're very welcome. It was my pleasure.